They don't crave fame. They don't chase attention. Yet Sigma males stand apart because while the world settles, they keep moving forward. But why? Why do Sigma males refuse to settle when everyone else stops? What drives them to reject the comfort that others desperately seek? By the end of this video, you'll understand the rare mindset that keeps Sigmas restless in the best way possible. You'll discover why they view settling not as peace, but as the enemy of their potential. Section 1. The meaning of settling. Let's be honest about what settling really means in 2025. It's not just about accepting less, it's about accepting the illusion that enough exists. Settling for the average job that pays the bills but kills your soul. Settling for relationships that feel safe but lack passion. Settling for happiness that comes from a screen instead of from within. Society has masterfully convinced us that comfort equals success. That once you have the house, the car, the relationship status, you've made it. But here's what 2025 research reveals about high-achieving individuals. They understand that comfort is the graveyard of ambition. For the Sigma, the idea of settling isn't peace. It's a slow death of potential. While others see a finish line, they see a starting point. The modern world has created an epidemic of premature satisfaction. People celebrate reaching base camp and call it conquering Everest. They get comfortable with comfortable and wonder why they feel empty despite having everything they thought they wanted. But Sigmas possess an internal compass that always points toward growth. They can't ignore it, can't silence it, can't satisfy it with external achievements alone. This compass is both their blessing and their burden. Section 2. The inner code of a Sigma male. So what drives them? What internal operating system runs in the mind of a Sigma male? Recent psychological studies from 2025 identify 3 core principles that separate Sigmas from the masses. First, self-mastery is their religion. Not in an egotistical way, but in the most fundamental sense. They worship at the altar of becoming the best version of themselves. While others seek external validation through likes, status symbols, or approval from peers, Sigmas are internally validated. They measure progress by how they feel about themselves when no one else is watching. Second principle, independence over validation. Recent data shows that 73% of people make major life decisions based on how others will perceive them. Sigmas operate from the remaining 27%. But they're not just independent by default. They've consciously chosen autonomy over acceptance. They'd rather walk a lonely path that leads upward than join a crowd going nowhere. This isn't antisocial behavior, it's strategic solitude. The third principle, growth over comfort. Here's where it gets interesting. Neuroscience research from 2026 shows that the brains of high achievers literally respond differently to comfort. Where most people experience relief, Sigmas experience restlessness. They don't rebel to be different, they rebel to stay authentic. Every choice they make is filtered through one question. Does this move me forward or keep me where I am? Sigmas have developed what researchers call potential anxiety, the uncomfortable feeling that comes from knowing you're capable of more, but not yet there. Most people medicate this feeling with distractions. Sigmas use it as fuel. They've learned to find peace in the process rather than the outcome. While others need to reach destinations to feel accomplished, Sigmas find fulfillment in the daily practice of becoming. Section 3. Why Sigmas reject average lifestyles. The average lifestyle comes with a pre-written script. Graduate by 22, career by 25, marriage by 30, house by 35, kids by 40, retirement by 65, die fulfilled, or so they tell you. But Sigmas observe this conveyor belt of expectations and ask, who wrote this script? And why am I supposed to follow it? 2025 research on life satisfaction reveals something shocking. 68% of people following traditional life timelines report feeling empty despite achieving their goals. Average lifestyles are built on external metrics, job titles that impress strangers, marriage timelines that satisfy family expectations, social media approval that feeds the ego but starves the soul. While others seek validation, Sigmas seek transformation. They don't want to be successful according to someone else's definition. They want to be successful according to their own evolving standards. They reject average not because they think they're superior, but because they know they're capable of extraordinary. And extraordinary doesn't come with instruction manuals. The average life is predictable, safe, and ultimately forgettable. Sigmas understand that security is often just fear dressed up as wisdom. They'd rather risk failure pursuing something meaningful than guarantee success doing something meaningless. They've realized that following someone else's blueprint for happiness is like wearing someone else's prescription glasses. Everything looks blurry and wrong. Section 4. The price of never settling. But let's be real about the cost. The path of never settling isn't lined with applause or understanding. It's often lonely, misunderstood, and exhausting. People call them cold, detached, or arrogant. Friends drift away because Sigmas won't settle for surface-level connections. Family members worry because they can't understand the drive. The truth? They're not cold, they're disciplined dreamers. They're not detached, they're selectively engaged. They're not arrogant, they're just unwilling to apologize for having standards. They pay the price of solitude, but gain the reward of freedom. They understand that comfort kills ambition, and they'd rather live with the discomfort of growth than the comfort of stagnation. Every Friday night, they choose growth over entertainment. Every weekend, they choose creation over consumption. Every year, they choose evolution over repetition. The hardest part isn't the work itself. It's explaining to others why the work matters. It's declining invitations to events that drain your energy. It's watching friends settle into routines that would suffocate you. But here's what makes it bearable. Sigmas have learned to find companionship in their future self. They work not just for who they are, but for who they're becoming. That future version of themselves is always encouraging them forward. They've accepted that most people won't understand their choices until they see the results. And even then, many will attribute their success to luck, rather than the thousands of small decisions that others weren't willing to make. Section 5. The reward. Becoming unstoppable. Here's what happens when you refuse to settle. You become unstoppable. Not because you're invincible, but because you're constantly evolving. Sigmas don't just grow, they compound. Every skill builds on the last. Every experience adds to their arsenal. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. 2026 research on peak performers reveals something extraordinary. Those who never settle don't just achieve more, they enjoy the process more. They've gamified life itself. They don't settle because they know something others have forgotten. The journey is the destination. Every day, they wake up slightly better than yesterday. Every month, they're unrecognizable from who they were. The Sigma male's secret isn't that he refuses to settle, it's that he refuses to stop becoming. He understands that the greatest tragedy isn't failing to reach your potential, it's settling before you discover what that potential even is. What makes them truly unstoppable isn't their current capabilities, it's their commitment to expansion. While others plateau and maintain, Sigmas continuously upgrade their entire operating system. They've learned that confidence isn't about knowing you can handle everything. It's about knowing you can learn to handle anything. This makes them anti-fragile in a world that breaks most people.
The ultimate reward isn't wealth, status, or recognition. It's the deep satisfaction that comes from looking in the mirror and knowing you didn't waste the gift of your potential. It's the peace that comes from giving your absolute best to becoming your absolute best. So, if you ever feel out of place for wanting more, you're not lost. You're not broken. You're not asking for too much. You're just walking the Sigma path, a path few dare to follow, but the one that leads to true freedom, the freedom to become who you're truly meant to be. Because settling isn't peace, it's prison. And you, my friend, were born for something bigger. The world needs people who refuse to settle. It needs individuals who believe in the possibility of continuous growth, who understand that their potential is not a destination, but a direction. Stay hungry, stay evolving. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today.